you everybody so much for being here to our latest session of Ask the Broker. This is our elite training where we do deep dives into high level topics. It's not your everyday kind of motivational type of training. These are deep dives into topics that we believe today are relevant even to today's market. So before we jump into it, I'm going to do a shameless plug. So if you're not an agent here at Miranda Executive Realty, or if you are an agent and you might know an agent that would be interested in learning more about our company, please scan this QR code and enter your information, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. So questions and comments, please save them for the end, or if you don't mind, there is a little chat box in the corner. If you type your questions there, let me open that up. If you do have any questions as we go on, you can go ahead and type your questions there, and I'll answer them as soon as I can. Otherwise, we will do a time at the end to ask any questions live. So additionally, just a quick disclaimer about me. I'm the broker, owner of Miranda Executive Realty. Real estate is where my expertise really ends. I have ways that I operate my business. I have things that I do on a day-to-day basis, how I handle my finances, understand ethics and laws. Everything is subject to change. So even information that is relevant today may not be relevant later. So as always, before making financial decisions, legal decisions, really any decisions, if there's an appropriate counsel that you should consult with, we always recommend please consult with the appropriate counsel. So jumping into it now that I've taken care of all of my legal disclaimers, what are we talking about today? We're talking about thriving in uncertainty. So looking at this photo, we tried to find one that was moving, but we couldn't. But what is this? This is a tree in a hurricane, right? This is a tree that is that's in the middle of the storm. And I think a lot of times we can feel like this tree, right? We can feel like the tree that is, that's in the storm, especially in real estate. It just feels like there's so much chaos and there's so much, going on around you, and you can't really focus and you can't really think about the things that you should be doing, right? So where are we at right now? Right now, I would say we are in a cyclical downturn, right? Real estate being cyclical or seasonal, as you'll see soon, we are not in one of those moments when we're thriving, right? You never thought you'd say it, but you might say, I miss COVID. Why do you miss COVID? Because that was the white hot real estate market that we had, right? That was the market where you didn't have to do anything. Buyers and sellers were there, right? Especially buyers. Sellers couldn't keep up with it. The sellers knew if they just put their house on the market at whatever price, chances are they were going to sell it, right? My house or my neighbor's house sold. I know that my house next door to him is going to sell for more money this time around. And my neighbor's house next to me is going to sell for more money after mine sells. Every single sale was higher than the one before. But today's not like that, right? So why do we call you a seasoned agent? It's because you've been through the seasons, right? You've exemplified resilience. You've shown that, okay, I can go from the good times to the bad times, and the good times, they feel good, they feel like they're never going to end. We're going to go to Disney, we're going to buy the fast pass, right, for the good times, and then the bad times come along, and you maybe wish that you hadn't gone to Disney and got the fast pass. Maybe you wish that you had invested that money or saved it somewhere, but that's okay, right? That's okay. This is what we're going to talk about. What should we be doing today? So, but first, what are some of the realities of the challenges in the markets that we have, right? There's a lot of things that happen in the market that can lead to market downturns, right? And we're experiencing so many of these right now. Interest rates, rising, although now we do see they're starting to come down. Last couple months, interest rates have been drifting down, and they're kind of floating, or for the last few weeks, they've been kind of floating there, but they're still at like their 2-month lows. So that's good, right? That's that helps. A lot of talk about recession, a lot of talk about the chaos with, the new, when politics change, there's always a lot of chaos. There's always a lot of fear, a lot of uncertainty. There's always that change, right? There's record number of listings on the market right now. Buyers, the cost for them to get in, it costs them more money to get in. Forget about the insurance when there's a hurricane or a flood. We don't experience so many wildfires here, but every once in a while the Everglades has a little fire going on out there, but it doesn't really affect our current market. But hurricanes are a huge one, right? Floods, right? It's maybe not always the hurricanes that cause all the damage; it's the flooding that comes with the hurricanes. Just the devastation and the huge insurance policies that we pay for years and years and years and years. And what does this cause? Indecision, right? This causes panic. This causes increased cost of ownership, right? When you're looking at it, the interest rates are higher, the cost of maintenance is higher, the cost of insurance is higher, right? If you buy a condo, forget about it, right? We're dealing right now with new policies and new judgments that have come into play. We're still receiving offers into this office, and we can see that agents still don't fully understand how they need to be acting when it comes to this new judgment they came out with the lawsuit last year, right? This thing's been in effect, 7 months, right? Over 7 months, this law has been a mandatory thing that, we need to follow certain guidelines. And there's still agents that send us offers, and they still don't understand commission. They don't understand the addenda that have come out to help address how we need to function in these things. So, it just goes to show you that, the brokers are not out there really educating their agents, helping their agents to navigate these things. We just received an offer last week. It got negotiated through the weekend. And part of the counteroffer that we had to send back was sending the appropriate addendum and the appropriate commission agreement, because he didn't have it right. Right. And it's like, come on, people, this has been, 6 or 7 months. This is an agent that actually, had some production. So it's like, how long has this agent been doing this? These are the big brokerage. How long has this agent been doing this, that, they're doing that? And it's like, how do you not, have an understanding of these things right now? Right. Condos, the amount of disclosures, now with condos, we're telling our agents, right now with condos, you should be collecting the last 12 months of condominium, the association meeting minutes. You need to look at those. Are there any assessments coming up? Have they done all of their studies? There's so many studies now that need to be done. There's so many things, right? So what are we going to do about it? What do we do, right? Unfortunately, some of the things that we're going to talk about are, maybe it's too late, but what we know is that this market is seasonal. It's cyclical, right? So right now, where are we at? We're in the winter. It's starting to feel like a deep winter, but it's also starting to feel like maybe the market's thawing out a little bit. As we know that literally real estate works through the seasons. The holidays are always slow. The literal winter is always kind of like a little bit of a winter, right? But we're talking about the overall, the cycle of real estate. And right now we are in that deep cycle, right? So that's what we want to talk about, is what should you be doing today? What are the things that, that you can do today, not only to build your business for tomorrow, but to make sure that when it does thaw and we get into the spring and the summer, that you're setting aside food, and you're storing away food, so that when the winter does come again, and it will come again, you don't starve to death and end up dying in this industry, because that's the last thing that we want to do. So number one, where should you turn? Right? Where's the first place you should turn? Now, not everybody has past clients, right? Not everybody's able to reach out to past clients. I'll tell you one thing: if you're a new agent coming into this market, you have an edge. You have an edge over really anybody, because when you're a new agent coming into a hot market, there's so much competition. There's so much competition, and you're going to pick up less of that market share. But when you come in as a new agent right now, and agents are getting out of the business, or they're going back to doing their, whatever it is they did before, or they're taking on part-time jobs, or even if you are an agent and you have a part-time job or a full-time job, if you're doing the things that you're supposed to do today, you're going to pick up what market share, right? And if you've been doing it for a while, you need to make sure that you crisis-proof your pipeline, right? Keeping in touch with past clients, letting them know that, hey, I'm still in the business, setting yourself up as the industry expert, that's going to set you up to succeed in a market like this. Do you reach out to your past clients regularly? Do you ask them for referrals? Do you remind them that you appreciate their referrals? Right? What about the other ones, investors? Do you have a network of investors that you work with? When you see a hot deal or you go on a listing appointment and you're like, holy cow, this would be an amazing deal for an investor. Do you have somebody that you can present this to? You should, especially when the market slows down, especially right now when there's so many listings available. Condos are a steal right now. People are buying these condos and they're getting credited $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 towards assessments that the sellers are paying at closing. These assessments will probably never be levied again in this manner, because laws have passed that make it a requirement that condominiums now have a certain level of reserves, right? So now condominiums have to be managed a little bit better, or a lot better in some cases. So, condos are a great opportunity. A lot of people, they're about to get foreclosed on in these condos, unfortunately, but that does create an opportunity for you to seek these deals out, to find these deals and put them in front of investors. Right? Buy one of these now that was undermanaged, that's now going through all these pains, rent it out, and then watch in the next few years as those values go up, as these things begin to level out. Right? Past clients, you need to keep in touch with past clients. Number two, this one's a little contrary to the market, because what are we in right now? We're in a buyer's market. There's an abundance of inventory on the market right now, but there's a lot of cliche sayings in the real estate industry. One of them, list to last, right? But I believe this from the deepest, most innermost fiber of my being. You need to have listings, regardless of the market, whether it's buyer's market or seller's market. For me, buyers come as a byproduct of my listings. Everything that I do is to get a listing. It's not advertising to buyers. I don't buy Zillow leads for buyers. I don't buy Realtor.com leads for buyers. I don't go anywhere for buyers. Buyers are a byproduct of listings that we have. If one out of every 3 or 4 deals you can represent both sides, then that's great, right? But for a listing, you're going to spend 1/3 of the amount of time working on it, dealing with it. Just your time is, you have so much more time when working with listings than you do with buyers. Buyers take up so much more time. You have to look for the properties. You have to drive them around. They might not like them, right? When you have the listing, you have the inventory. The buyers are coming to you, right? Or they're going to their agent who's coming to you. You don't have to go anywhere, right? And if you leverage your listing in the right way, that listing not only can lead to another buyer, but it can lead to another listing. You can send out just listed, just sold. You can call the neighbors, let them know that it's for sale. While you're calling them, you can ask them, by the way, are you thinking about selling your house at some point in the near future? Maybe they are, maybe they're not, right? But if they are, then at some point down the road, if you keep in touch with this person effectively, you're going to get another listing. And guess what's happening right now? There's less people making those phone calls. There's less people doing those things. Maybe you don't want to call for sale by owners and expireds. That's okay, right? I can tell you right now, expireds, and go back, look at our trainings, go into agent resources. We have a full sheet telling you exactly how to deal with expireds. You better be aggressive. You better be aggressive. You better get the appointment on that call, and you better get the listing on that appointment. There's maybe not an opportunity for a follow-up call because they're going to list it. And expired, they already raised their hand. They already had their house on the market. For sale by owners, they take a little bit more work, a little bit more empathy, right? It's a different type of animal. But what is for FSBO, fastest source of business opportunity? Those are also the fastest ones that you can list if you can get good at for sale by owners, right? Networking, right? Build your brand. Branding is really important on listings, especially if you're going to farm, right? If you're going to farm, you need to get your brand out there. I highly recommend farming. Farming is something that takes time to build, and you have to do it the right way, right? There's hunting and there's farming. So the previous slide where we talked about, for sale by owners, expireds, doing those, doing the calls, that's hunting, right? You're out there and, you got to hunt every single day. You go on the hunt every single day. You're looking for dinner. You want to kill dinner and bring it home so you can eat dinner, and you're going to go out and you're going to go hunting again tomorrow. You're calling expireds. If that's your business model, you're calling them every single day. And you're hoping to get that appointment, and you're hoping to get that listing. Farming is different. Farming is cultivating, right? You're tending your crops. You're tending your fields. It's exactly that. You have a certain number of homes that you're going to give attention to on a regular basis, and you're going to do the same things, right? You should mail to them. You should call them. You might think about door knocking, but if you don't want to door knock, at least hang some flyers or have your teenager kid go hang some flyers. But it's about consistent efforts, right? You're tilling the soil, you're fertilizing, you're watering, but it's the same area, right? When you're calling expired, you're all over the place. You're out in the woods and you're looking for whatever's out there. When you're farming, you're going to your garden every morning. You're going to that same spot and you're working that same area. And if you do it long enough, it will produce fruit, right? But you have to be careful. You don't want to overtill. You don't want to over-fertilize. You don't want to under-fertilize. You've got to get it just right. But when you get it just right, farming will feed you for the rest of your life. Do you want to farm a neighborhood? That's great. Do you want to farm a demographic of individuals, right? Do you want to farm, doctors? Do you have a way to get a hold of certain people? That's fine, right? But farming is going to take you to the same place every single time. And farming is what will get you through the slow times. They're going to get you through. So I highly recommend everybody find a farm. Don't start huge. That's where people fail. Make sure that there's a conversion rate. We did a training on farming. We did one already. There's a formula to finding the right area to farm. Farming doesn't work sometimes because you chose the wrong neighborhood. Maybe there's already a dominant agent there. Maybe 1% of those houses are selling per year, which means there's no turnover. There's nothing to sell. And when it does sell, you're going up against somebody that, already knows 3, 4, 5, 6 real estate agents. So it's going to take a longer time. You have to find the right neighborhood. And that's going to take time, right? You have to find the right area for your garden. You have to find the right soil for your garden. It's going to take time, but if you put the time into it, you find the right area, you do the right things consistently over time, sooner or later it's going to produce you a fruit. Investors, right? Again, we talked about investors already, but everybody should have an investor pool. If you don't get text messages from wholesalers, ask somebody and get on a wholesaler's list, because these people will write those instant cash offers for properties. Or if you want to be a wholesaler yourself, I don't know, maybe you do, right? Sell the contract. Doesn't matter. But when the market slows down, that's when the opportunities show up. And when you find an opportunity, if you don't have somebody to give that opportunity to, then you missed your own opportunity to have a sale. Call me. Call your broker. I can put you in touch with people. We've had a couple of them speak here. We had a private money lender that came on and did a training a couple of months ago. She'll buy any good deal. If you bring her a good deal, she's going to buy it, right? And you should make money on that, right? Because you're going to come across people who need to have a fast sale. They need to have a fast sale. So here's your calculator. So if you go into agent resources, we've created a calculator for you. We probably need to do a little training on this, on what this is and how it is. But also, again, if you go back to our rental, we did a rental investment training. If you go back and you watch that, it's going to explain these different ratios and what you're looking for. Right? It's going to explain to you how to calculate cap, the cap rate, and what goes into the cap rate and what doesn't go into the cap rate. Don't put the mortgage. Mortgage is not part of the cap rate, right? But as you're looking at properties, run them through here. If you find one that's, 10, 11, 12, 13 cap, which now these higher caps are coming back. If you find one, find an investor to buy it. Find an investor to buy it. The nice thing about Bold Trail, our CRM, let's say you're in the MLS and you're looking through, you're looking for properties for somebody, and you come across something that, wow, this looks like an amazing deal. And then you run it through this calculator here. You can now go into Bold Trail. You can find that property, assuming that it's okay to advertise. Make sure it's okay to advertise. But you can share that directly. You can share a link to that from your website, from Bold Trail, directly to Facebook. You can copy a link and put it in Instagram. You can put it in LinkedIn, like really anywhere. And you can drive traffic back to your website. And when they come back to your website, they're going to be allowed so much opportunity to look around. And then sooner or later, it's going to ask them, give me your information. You want more information. And these people will register. And when they register, what do? You call them, right? And if they don't answer, what do? You call them again, and you call them again, and you call them again, and you call them again, right? You call them as many times as you need to in order to get them to answer, right? And you set up their profile. You make sure that it's set up correctly. We did a training on that as well. We'll probably do another one, right? What happens when you get a listing and it sits too long on the market? What do? What do you do? Look at my listings. What do? I have the difficult conversations. Because right now, well, number one, when you're listing a property, when you're selling a property, what do? You price ahead of the market. So in COVID times, 2021, 22, maybe part of 23, maybe, what was the market doing? It was going up. So you could price ahead of the market, and sooner or later the market's going to catch up, and you're going to sell at that price. But when the market's going down, you can't price ahead of the market by going up. You missed it. You're never going to go higher and catch a falling market. You have to go below it. It's not our fault the market's going down. It's not our fault that the market's slowing down. It's not our fault that the interest rates are going up. It's not our fault that there's so many crazy stinking laws out there that it's causing utter chaos in the real estate industry. But it is our fault if our customers' listings don't sell. It is our fault if we don't have those conversations with our customers and educate them on what's going on in today's market. Which, by the way, side note real quick, we're preparing our first newsletter for the office. And in that newsletter is going to be the monthly statistics. And then quarterly, we're going to put those statistics in there as well. It's going to be shareable downloads that you can share. You could put your own branding on them if you want. You could actually find them at Florida Realtors yourself as well. But we're going to put them all together, the tri-counties, and then single family, and then condos. So you'll have those right there. And you could be having those conversations every month when you get that new newsletter. Now, what are statistics? Statistics are the past. It's what's already happened. So the ones that we share in March's newsletter are going to be February's statistics. When we send our newsletter out in April, it's going to be March's statistics. The only statistics that we really have for the current month or the market that we're in is our gut. It's our instinct, right? You start to think that, okay, the phone's ringing a little bit more. This listing that was a little bit slower is now getting a little bit busier. I'm starting to get more activity here and there. So, if you're active in real estate and you're doing it, you will feel as the market changes. Right now, I'm starting to feel the market change, and it's starting to feel better. Not feeling great, but it's feeling better. Stuff is starting to go under contract. But if you look at my listings, we've had to do price drops. We've had to have that. What is the one thing to remember when there's an issue with a property? Price cures all defects. Remember that quote. It's very important for listings. Price cures all defects. What does that mean? That means it doesn't matter what's wrong with that house. At the right price, somebody will buy it. A house sitting on a sinkhole, I guarantee you somebody will buy that at a price. I don't know what price. Depends on the severity of the sinkhole, maybe. I don't know, right? A house with no roof on it. Somebody will buy that house with the land at a price. But if you try to price your house with no roof as the same price as the house with a fully functioning, perfectly fine roof, you're not going to sell it. You have to sell it for less, more than likely. Unless there's some other feature or benefit to that house that would cause it to be worth more. But apples to apples, you probably have to price it less. Price cures all defects. If your listings are not selling, what do you need to do? Adjust the price. And how do you have those conversations? Steady communication, right? How do you communicate with them? Number one, empathy. Empathize with them. They told you they wanted $469,000 for the house, and you told them that you could get it, and now you can't, right? Well, how do you have that conversation that, well, yeah, I was wrong, right? Number one, ethically, it's in code of ethics. If you realize that a house is overpriced and you don't tell your customer, it's an ethics violation. You have to tell your customer. It's okay if you tell them and they say, let's go ahead and still list it higher. Fine, go ahead and do it. Right? Have that conversation. Look, we can list it at the higher end. I don't recommend it, but we can. But just know that this is, in my opinion, too high of a price. Right? Accuracy. So when you're communicating with them, number one, empathy. You have to know how they're feeling. Feel what they're feeling. Try to come from their, stand in their shoes. Look at it from their perspective. Look at it how in the situation that they're in. Maybe they need to net a certain dollar and they just can't, but they have to move, right? But accuracy is equally important. Look, when we listed it, the market was here. Here's the statistics. Now the market's here, right? When we listed it, interest rates were down here and they've been going up. Here's what's been going on. We haven't had any showings. Are you communicating with your customers consistently, right? And transparently? Are you scared to tell them? Are you scared to have the difficult conversations with them? We're not having any showings, or we've had a showing and we got bad feedback, right? You have to have the difficult conversations with them. You have to be transparent consistently. No matter what is going on, you should have a consistent schedule for how frequently you're going to speak to your customers. And you should tell them everything. You need to be able to have a difficult conversation. You need to be able to put yourself in their shoes. You need to be able to translate exactly what's going on accurately. And you need to do it on a regular basis. So for me, we communicate once a week every Friday. Every Friday we'll touch base. Unless we do an open house. On an open house, we're going to communicate that on Monday. We did an open house Saturday or Sunday. Here were the results. We'll tell them that on Monday. But otherwise, here's how many showings you had this week. Here's any feedback we were able to get. Here's recommendations based on what we know. You have to prime them to do the right thing. You can't just get a listing, have it sit for 4 weeks, never communicate with your customer, and all of a sudden hit them with, hey, we haven't had any showings, we need to lower the price. They're like, wait, what? This is the first time you're reaching out to me in a month. They're annoyed by you by now. They're annoyed They don't even feel like they want to work with that agent anymore. You have to communicate with your customers. And you have to look at your listings. Go back and look at them. Shuffle the photos around, right? Because what appeals to one person might not appeal. What you think is an amazing feature of this house, a vast majority of the market might not think so, and they might not make it to what they needed to see in that house. It doesn't have to be kitchens and bathrooms, but maybe it's the oversized backyard. Maybe it's the extremely large living room or the super high ceilings, right? Who knows what the market is going to respond to? It's just like doing any marketing. You don't know the results of your marketing until you do it. Move your pictures around. Change the verbiage a little bit. Change the remarks. See if you can appeal to another type of buyer that's in that market, right? Lead your clients, right? Lead your clients. So what are problems that we have that happen in the market, right? Full inventory, too much inventory, too many homes to sell, indecisive buyers, right? Sound familiar? Buyers that can't make a decision. Maybe they have too many decisions to make, right? Well, what is it? High competition, unique marketing. There's a lot of competition, right? What's a unique feature about this house that you can push, right? To make it look, you're priced right, everything's just right, everything's good, but there's a lot of these houses on the market. Is there anything different about your property? Is there anything superior about your property that you have listed compared to the rest of them? Is it on the water? If yours is the only one on the water, should you accent and highlight that? Does it have newer floors, better kitchen, better bathroom? What does it have? What makes it better, right? Again, put those photos at the front. Talk about that. Listed on the market too long, fix your price. Price cures all defects. Remember, if it's been sitting, it's your price, right? If it's not the marketing, it's your price, right? Too many buyers looking at the home, or they're not giving you the proper feedback. Well, maybe you need to call the agent and work to get that offer. Do you follow up with showings on your listings? When an agent shows your listings, do you call them and call them for feedback on it, or do you just wait for them to call you? Because isn't it our job to sell that house? And in order to sell it, what do we need to do? We need to close. Call the agents that come look at your property. See if one of them wants to come look at, if one of them wants to write an offer. No, they didn't like it. Why not? Well, they just thought it was a little bit overpriced. Okay, what price would be a good price for them? I don't know. We'll find out. Tell them to send that offer in, right? You're taking your negotiations, right? When you're negotiating, what are you trying to do? You're trying to get to the next step. You need to go from showing to offer. You don't go from showing to accepted offer. You're going from showing to offer. Get the offer in. I don't care what it is. Send me an offer. No matter what it is, I'll get you a counter offer. Doesn't matter what offer you send me, I'll get you a counter offer. Get it done. Right? Can't find buyers for your property. Well, again, that might be price, or maybe you're not looking in the right place. Are you near a synagogue? Are you near, are you near something, right? What about buyers? They have a lot of choices. So don't send them 75 houses that meet their criteria. Don't send them 150 condos. Listen to what they're saying and send them only the ones that you think they will like. Save yourself the time and the heartache. Save yourself. They're scared to overpay because the market's coming down. Know your statistics. Maybe right now is the best time to buy a house. They want to wait for prices to come down more. Who here can time the market? Who here knows the best time to buy, an index fund in the Dow or the S&P 500? Who here knew in 2008 when the market started crashing that it would crash all the way until the fourth quarter of 2012? For 4 years, the market would just go down and down and down and down and down. Who knew that? Nobody. Right? But what do we know? Over time, the markets will recover and come back up. And it's not about timing the market. It's about your time in the market. Because even if you bought a house in 2007, right now, even though home prices have begun drifting down, it's still worth more than the high price of 2007. And 2007 to 2025, 18 years, you've paid down a heck of a lot of that mortgage. And you might have refinanced in 2021 or sooner, right? Not timing the market. It's your time in the market. Get in right now, because right now, if you don't own, you're just paying your landlord's mortgage. You're building equity for your landlord. Your money is going into your landlord's pocket, right? Give them some urgency. Analysis paralysis. Well, I get it. You like three of these properties. I'm not going to be around forever. I guarantee you, if you like these three, there's another buyer out there that likes these three as well. And the one that you choose, ultimately, that buyer is probably also going to choose it. I would highly recommend making a decision by the end of the day today. You sleep on it, you may never sleep in it. Lead your clients. We are the experts. Hear me. Lead your clients. Be the expert. Do not be shy to tell them what you know. Sometimes your clients are too close to the forest to see the trees, or too close to the trees to see the forest, right? It's right there, right? But they can't see the forest past the trees. But that's it. They're just too close. So you need to give them that 30,000-foot view. Oh, look, here it is. That's our job. That is literally our job, is to guide our customers to make the right decisions, to do the right thing, right? We have to guide them. Work this. Find your problem with your buyer or your seller and work it. Figure it out. Keep this thing moving. Keep the train rolling, right? What about tenants? So this is a little side note here, but this is how you're going to stay in the good graces of landlords. How do you keep your landlords happy? You help them screen proper tenants, right? So number one, the application. Okay, so we're going to kind of go down this little matrix here. All right, proof of income, proof of funds, application, credit score. All right, we're going to collect all this. Assuming they're proof of funds, they have money to move in. Proof of income, they have enough money to make it, right? And ideally, minimum 3 times the monthly rent. Minimum. 4 times is better, right? The more income they have compared to their rent, the better off, the easier it's going to be for them to handle that monthly obligation. Minimum 3 months to move in, first, last, and security. Do not let your landlord take a tenant that does not have 3 months to move in. If they don't have 3 months in the bank, then they're not going to be able to pay their rent. They don't have the discipline. That's a minimum. Credit score. Is there a low credit score or an eviction on there? Then get more rent. Right? Get more rent. For somebody that has a 650 or higher credit score, we only require first, last, and security. 649 and below, we need first month security deposit and the last 2 months of rent. Why? Because you're hedging the risk. Take care of your landlords, right? You're going to help them with the lease. Make sure you know how to fill out a lease. First and foremost, make sure you understand the contract of lease and that's filled out correctly when you receive one, right? The money doesn't come to the owner. It doesn't go to the owner. It goes to the title company. Good faith escrow deposit, right? Good faith earnest money deposit, right? That goes to the title company. And finally, do a final walkthrough. Do a walkthrough and make sure that the tenant that's moving in has a walkthrough form. Give them your time frame to fill that out, a week, 2 weeks, whatever it is, and get that back to the landlord. Because later on, right, if you do good by that tenant, maybe later on they're going to buy something and they'll remember you and they'll buy it. What's to stop you from now keeping in touch with that tenant and converting them into your buyer? Nothing. There's nothing stopping you, right? You get to the final walkthrough, what are you going to do? Well, title company is going to give you the escrow deposit. their earnest money deposit. What is that? That's the first month of rent. Why is it the first month of rent? Because that's your commission, not the last month, and it's not the security deposit. Last month hasn't been paid yet, so the landlord doesn't own it. Security deposit, the landlord never owns it. The only thing at the day of the walkthrough, the commencement of the lease, the only money that's transferred that is the landlord's actual money is the first month of rent. So your commission needs to come out of the first month of rent. Can't take a commission out of a security deposit. Can't take it out of the last month because that all belongs to the tenant still at that point. Even though the landlord's holding it, still belongs to the tenant. Right? That's why it says security deposit, last month of rent, and commission payout. It doesn't say first month of rent. Your commission comes out of the first month of rent. Very important detail. It's these little details that separate the experts from the novices. Right? Do it the right way. And if you don't know, let us know. Right? So you got your commission. Right? Well, what do you do with it? I'm not an accountant. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not anything but me. But you probably want to have some sort of budget for that money. If you made $1,000, then you go have fun on $50, right? You invest in yourself $100, or continuing education in yourself, right? Maybe you have an IRA or a Roth IRA or some mutual funds, right? Put 150 in there. Personal savings, put 200 in your savings and emergency fund. If you don't have an emergency fund, and like, you're living crazy, right? Set aside for taxes because those are shocking. Believe me, 1 year, it was a really good year, and I didn't set aside enough in taxes. And when I had to write that bill, I about had a heart attack. Luckily, I had the money, but I about had a heart attack when I had to write that check. That was like, yeah, that was a crazy check. And then make sure you can cover your monthly business expenses. Now, on a side note, your savings and emergency funds, an emergency fund is exactly that. It's so that, and when you have an emergency fund, an emergency is not necessarily an emergency fund, right? An emergency fund is not, or an emergency is not always an emergency. A flat tire, if you've got the money in the bank to go and, plug the tire or get a new tire, it's not an emergency. It's an emergency when you don't have the money and you need to find the money, or you need to put it on a credit card, right? Broken window, all of these little things that happen. You need to have an emergency fund. Now, an emergency fund is not your reserves, because you should have a savings account with some reserves in it. For me personally, I get uncomfortable if I don't have 6 months of operating expenses in my bank account because of times like this right now. Because when things get slow and my business income takes a hit, I want to maintain my lifestyle. I want to maintain the things. I might need to slow it down because I will have to pull out of those reserves, right? But I don't want to deplete those reserves, right? So maybe I eat out a little bit less, but at least I can continue to pay for the obligations that I have. If you're a business owner, you need to behave like a business owner. And that means being responsible with your money, paying your taxes, planning your expenses, planning for the slow times that will take you out of business. Why do people go out of business? Because they run out of money. If you don't run out of money, you'll always be in business if you want to be. Maybe you make so much money that you no longer need to be in business, right? Maybe your investments account is a savings account because you don't want to invest in the stock market. You realize, I'm a real estate agent. I should be buying real estate. So it's just a savings account, or it's a CD, or whatever it is, right? You don't have to, an investment isn't just stocks and mutual funds and IRAs and, all that stuff. We're real estate agents. We should be investing in real estate because we're experts in real estate. And we should be able to tell people, yeah, I own rental properties, or I've owned rental properties, or I've flipped properties. I understand these concepts. These are not just theory for me, right? I'm not speaking on these things in theory. This is actually what I've done. These are facts. This is my experience that I've had in it, right? Set aside money. Figure out this doesn't have to be it. Maybe your taxes aren't 30%. Maybe your business expenses aren't 20. Maybe you want to have more fun and have a better lifestyle. Maybe maybe you don't need continuing education and growth because you come to these and you go to our power hours and you're using all of the resources that we're giving you. Your business expenses should be much lower at this brokerage because we give you everything you need to succeed. Right? So you can put more investment in savings and lifestyle. Enjoy it, right? You only live once. You only live once. So what are we doing? What's the call to action for today? What are the things based on what we just talked about? What should you do? Number one, work your leads and past clients. Do not stop what you've already been doing. Do not stop what you've already been doing. Please keep doing it. In fact, do more of it. When my business gets slow, I make more phone calls. I don't make less. I'm on the phones longer, not shorter. I want to make more contacts, not less. I want to go on more appointments because it's going to take more of that. But then what happens, because it was slower and everybody else was slow, when the market gets warm again, I've got so many people in my pipeline that as I'm following up with them, it's closing. Right? 2021 was an absolutely amazing year for me. Like 22, almost as amazing. Like those 2 years were like, just, I don't know, I can't even, right? But it's because from 2017, 18, 19, 20, I was doing all the work and I was still getting results in those months. But then once I started getting on the phones in 2021, everybody wanted to buy and everybody wanted to sell and everybody was upgrading and everybody was going here and everybody was doing this, right? My business got really exciting because I did all of the actions in the weeks and months and years prior. Always work your leads. Always work our leads. There are leads in Bold Trail right now that are ready to convert. And all you need to do is work on your skills properly enough to be able to convert them. Because everybody needs a roof over their head. Same as you want to go door knocking. You go knock on 10 doors. It's your skills. It's your ability to convey to them that you are the best option for them in this moment. Somebody's selling right now. Somebody's buying right now. And just because they already bought or they already sold doesn't mean that they might not buy or sell again later. Thought about buying a second home? Thought about buying an investment property? Sold that one? Where are you living now? Everybody needs a roof over their head. We provide that. 3 basic needs: food, clothing, and shelter. We provide the shelter. Right? Number 2, highly recommend geofarming, but do it the right way. Don't do it haphazardly. If you do it haphazardly, you're going to waste your money and it won't work. Go into the wrong neighborhood, you waste your money and it won't work. If you don't do it consistently, you waste your money and it won't work. If you want results in a month and you quit after a month, you wasted your money. It didn't work. It takes time and you have to do it the right way. While you're working your leads and your past clients, make 10 connections per day. What's a connection? It's an actual conversation. If it's a phone call, that means you got through your first script. Right? And they answer your question. Are you thinking about selling your house? No. Hang up. That's a connection. Or contact. Right? All of this helps you be proactive, not reactive, obviously. Right? Get ahead of the market. Never stop doing what you're supposed to be doing. And then use what you already have. Start using Bold Trail. There's leads in there. There's marketing campaigns in there. There's listing. Man, the listing presentation is amazing. And I've just started implementing that into my lead system where I just send it out and it gets opened. People open that. And now they've seen your face and they've read your bio. It looks amazing. You can set it up where it's, make me list. It's, I'm in competition with another agent. It'll change the order of the documents that it sends. It's amazing. If you're not posting from on your social media automatically from your CRM, then what's the point? Like, why have it? But we took this CRM, I don't remember the exact number, and I canceled 8 different services. You have 2 logins. You have your Bold Trail back office, and then you have your Google Workspace. It's the only 2 logins that you need. We have consolidated everything and made it super duper simple in order for you to have everything that you need in one place and have easy access to it. You just have to do it. You just have to do it. And calling is hard, especially in the beginning, because you don't have the scripts, you don't have the confidence, you don't know what to say. I highly recommend a lot of people start coming into the Power Hour. That is a training. That's not just where we're there trying to make everybody work. Augie would tell you. Is he in here? Yeah, Augie's still in here. Augie would tell you. He's in there almost every morning. Augie, are those Power Hours? Do you think those are valuable?
Yes, for sure.
A lot of information that goes out in those little mini training sessions, right? To help you sharpen your mind on the way to think when you're calling, and when you're not that everybody wants to be a cold caller, right? But if you know these scripts and you know the objection handlers, it's going to make you better, not just on the phones, but it's going to make you better in the real world, because you're already going to have heard those objections on the phone and you already know what to say. Boom, right? And when you know different scripts for different profiles of buyers and sellers, you can interchange them and mix and match them. And eventually you get to make them your own. And you're saying them at a high level. And then you begin converting. Now you have money to start geo farming. That's a little bit of sweat and then a little bit of checkbook. Right? But these things, you got to do something. Right? Again, it's the same thing. Doesn't matter what you do, just do something and do it consistently. If it's not cold calling, then what? If it's not geo farming, then what? If it's not door knocking, then what? What are you going to do? Right? But you have to do something, and it's the only way to survive in this market. If you want to sell more houses, you have to do more of the work. You have to continue to build your skills. You have to continue to get better and better and better and better. You have to master whatever it is that you want to do. And then once you master that, you probably need to learn a new skill set and master a new skill set, because the world is constantly evolving. But what I will tell you is this winter won't last forever. And if you build your pipeline now, right, the downspout might be frozen and all those leads might be stuck in the pipe. But if you build it now, sooner or later that downspout's going to thaw and all those leads are going to come out. And it's just a matter of, do they come into your pond or do they go to somebody else? Because everybody needs a roof over their head. Everybody's going to buy or sell at some point in their life, or rent. I guess not everybody's going to buy or sell. But everybody got to live somewhere. Everybody wants to live in a bigger, better house. Got to do something. So that's all I got. Thank you, everybody. Any questions, comments, thoughts? Did I forget anything? Did I miss something? What else can we do to get through today's tough market? All right. Well, that's it then, everybody. Thank you all for showing up. I really hope that there was some value that was gained here. I can't say it enough. You got to do something. It's the only way, and you have to do it consistently. I would really love to see more people come into the Power Hour. I would really love for that, and to come in consistently every single day. And then I would love for those people to find a scripting partner and script and role play with somebody every single day. And I guarantee you it will change your business. It will change who you are. A year from now, your skills, you won't even recognize where you were before. You can't go back to not knowing. Once you know, you can't unknow it. Once you build that skill, it's yours forever. These are sales skills. You can take these skills with you anywhere. The stuff that we talk about, the little changes that you make in what you do, they make a world of difference for the rest of your life. The way that if you have the ability to convey a message and inspire action in somebody, you take that anywhere. You can do that at home with your kids, right? The psychological tricks that you can use on your kids and they don't even know it, right? Keep in mind, if you know somebody, or we have reap rewards. If you know an agent that might be a good fit, you can send them this QR code. You can take a screenshot of it. We are now a revenue sharing company, and it's only going to get better, right? We got to figure out the accounting, but revenue share is only going to get better. It's only gonna increase ways to make money. So if you bring an agent, there's some revenue share when they have closings. There are some incentives that happen immediately, some certificates that come. Send them this. If an agent is just watching this, please scan the QR code. Other than that, come check out our next training. Right, our next Ask the Broker is April 8th. But before that is going to be our roundtable. So bring some topics. What do you want to talk about? Where are you stuck? Where are you advancing? Where am I wrong in this training? Please feel free to tell me if I said something wrong or if you disagree. We can talk about it. But the roundtable, I don't want to run that training. This is for you guys to run the training, to answer each other's questions, to help each other out. So, but if there's nothing else, that's it. Hope to see you all next week. Take care. Thank you.